Well, this week we've heard from the Antichrist in waiting, Osama bin Laden, who wants everyone in the West to convert to Islam to stop the war in Iraq. Well, that sounds very realistic, doesn't it? I'm glad to see he hasn't lost his mind sitting up there in his little cave. Osama, if you're watching, well, thanks for the offer, but no thanks. There's no way that I could ever convert to Islam, for a number of reasons. Firstly, I like beer. Now, I know that sounds very hedonistic and shallow, but as you know, it's part of my culture to be hedonistic and shallow. And also in my culture right now, it's become very fashionable to respect everyone's cultural values, no matter how crude or barbaric or downright ridiculous they might be. And this is something which you and your Islamist friends have capitalized on with great success in recent years, and yet you still don't seem to approve, and I find that disappointing. To you, Western society, or the Zionist Crusader Alliance, let's give it its official title, is still an abomination which must be destroyed. It's decadent and immoral, there's too much sex, too much music, too much laughter, there's just too much fun, isn't there, Osama? And you want to put a stop to it before you have a brain hemorrhage. To you, Western women are whores because they show far too much flesh for your liking, and I bet that brings you out in a hot flush just thinking about it all the time. In fact, that's another reason that I couldn't possibly convert to Islam. Anyone who seriously expects me to stand by while the women in my life are compelled to dress or behave in a way that they consider inappropriate is frankly living in a fantasy world. But then we already knew that, didn't we? As for Iraq, well, you know as well as I do that virtually everybody on the planet wants the troops out of Iraq now, except for the idiot in the White House. The same one that you helped get re-elected, by the way, the last time you popped up on our screens. Remember, you interfering son of a bitch? Because the truth is, you wanted the war to continue every bit as much as he did. You wanted Muslims slaughtered and at each other's throats purely to embarrass the Americans, which is all you really care about, isn't it, you hypocrite? You know, Osama, there are over 1 billion Muslims living on this planet, and I think every single one of them should be cursing you for what you've done to their religion, because you've actually achieved the impossible. You've set Islam back several hundred years. So that even for somebody like me making this video, it's very difficult not to resort to obscenities. Especially when there's more obscenity in what you stand for than I could possibly generate in cursing you and all your worthless ancestors back to the year dot, you cowardly, violent scumbag, you self-righteous piece of shit. But hey, I don't want to get abusive here because that creates enemies. On the other hand, you're already my enemy, so what the hell, you murdering lump of slime. On the other hand, I want to make it very clear that the idiot in the White House is also my enemy, just in case you thought I was taking sides. Of course, he's a much bigger enemy to the troops that he actually sent to Iraq. In fact, he's probably the greatest enemy that they've got. He's also now an enemy to his own people, thanks to you and your activities, Osama, on this very day, 6 years ago, when you deliberately attacked civilians like the unprincipled oil slick you are. Now, thanks to the sacred war on terror, America has something called the Patriot Act, which is essentially a charter for fascism in the land of the free. It could have been written by Hitler, somebody with whom I think you would have a lot in common. After all, a bunker or a cave, ultimately, there's only one way out, isn't there? Anyway, Osama, I can't stay around chatting all day. I just wanted to say thanks for the offer, but as you can see, it would be impossible for me to become a Muslim, even if I wanted to. How fortunate for me that I don't want to. Besides, you know what, I think I'd probably be a bit of a Catholic Muslim, and ooh, what a combination that would be, eh? Ooh, look out, Jews. Only kidding, Jews. It was a joke. Peace, everyone. That's all we really want, isn't it? Well, most of us.